arrogant Princess Queen asked, "How many battles have you fought?" The celestial court shimmered with light, golden columns towering like mountains, and at the center the arrogant Princess Queen sat, her sapphire crown glinting, eyes sharp as knives, and she leaned forward, voice cold and deliberate. "Tell me, how many battles have you fought?" I stood straight, feeling the weight of 100 unseen eyes pressing down on me, knowing that the question was simple, but carried the gravity of judgment that could decide life or death, and I answered cautiously, "I have fought more than I can count," which drew a slow, calculating smile across her lips that seemed to measure not just my words but the very essence of my being. The Princess Queen's smile did not ease. It sharpened, and she said, "Words are cheap. Actions are what matter. Show me then," while a ripple of unease spread through the court. For all who knew her feared the ways. She tested warriors in challenges that no human had survived before, and I could feel the cold tendrils of magic pressing against my mind, weighing my memories, my victories, my losses, and my scars, threatening to betray any weakness in the truth I carried. "You claim victories against impossible odds," she continued, voice soft but deadly. "Yet your armor bears no mark, no blood, no fire. Prove it." I clenched my fists and drew a deep breath, reminding myself that I had not come here to argue but to survive and to show why humans were both feared and respected across galaxies. And as I braced, a sudden flash of light enveloped the hall, transforming the space into a swirling storm of memory and battle. I was no longer merely standing in the gilded court. I could hear the roar of engines, the crack of energy weapons, the screams of those I could not save, and each sensation struck me as if I were reliving every conflict I had endured. Yet I steadied my mind and focused, allowing the memories to sharpen rather than paralyze me. And I spoke with steady authority. "I have fought in wars where entire planets burned, where allies fell around me, where enemies believed themselves gods, and I survived." The Princess Queen's eyes narrowed, and the tension in the air became almost tangible as she studied me, saying, "And yet, you stand before me unbroken. Why?" "Because humans endure," I replied, my voice firm. "We adapt. We fight with every ounce of our being. And sometimes the battle is not against others, but against ourselves." And the court fell silent. For even those accustomed to witnessing, valor could feel the weight of human persistence in that single statement. The floor beneath her throne shimmered, forming glowing sigils that pulsed with latent power, and she stepped down with movements as precise and deliberate as a trained predator, circling me as though measuring my spirit, her presence radiating the kind of threat that could break lesser beings. Yet I stood firm, allowing her observation to become part of the test, knowing that in HFY tradition, humans always found a way to surpass expectations. Suddenly, shadows surged from the corners of the hall, taking the shape of every enemy I had faced, their eyes burning with hatred. Yet I remained unmoved, each phantom army faltering before the truth of human experience. And the court whispered in disbelief, sensing that this was no illusion but a demonstration of reality filtered through perception and willpower. And I lifted my hands calmly, calling on every instinct honed from real war, sending waves of presence that made the specters hesitate. Her lips parted slightly, and a flicker of admiration, or perhaps disbelief, crossed her face as she whispered, "Perhaps. You are more than you appear." And I nodded, letting the weight of my experiences speak louder than words. For humans had always proved formidable in ways others could not predict. And the court, previously brimming with tension, now held a palpable awe, the kind reserved for beings who could survive when logic suggested they should fall. The shadows grew restless, twisting and shifting, and the Princess Queen's voice rang out with a mixture of command and intrigue. "Show me the last battle you fought, the one that made you who you are." And the magic beneath the court pulsed, pulling me into the memory once again. A maelstrom of fire, smoke, and shattered landscapes, yet I walked through it with the poise of a survivor, every decision reflecting the hard-won lessons of countless encounters with death. I remembered the planet Viridian, where alien war machines rose taller than mountains, firing plasma that could melt steel and flesh alike, yet humans adapted, creating strategies that no alien mind had anticipated. And as I recounted this memory aloud, Each detail became vivid in the court, the walls echoing with the sounds of conflict and the cries of those who had fallen beside me. Yet my determination remained unbroken, and I let the Princess Queen witness the endurance that defined my people. Her eyes, once sharp and arrogant, softened momentarily, betraying a hint of respect as she murmured, "You speak with the voice of experience, and the courage of those who have faced annihilation and survived." And I answered, "Experience alone does not define us. It is the will to continue, to rise when all seems lost. That makes humans dangerous." And the court seemed to lean closer, as if drawn into the undeniable reality that humans were, indeed, a force no one could easily dismiss. Then came the final test. The shadows coalesced into a massive figure, towering above all in the hall, radiating menace, and the Princess Queen said, "Defeat this, and you prove not just your battles, but your mastery over fear itself." And I stepped forward, recalling every tactic, every moment of improvisation, and faced the embodiment of death without hesitation, my mind sharper, my body moving as one with instinct. And each strike I made, each maneuver, reflected the sum of my trials across worlds. The colossal shadow staggered under the weight of human resolve, its attacks faltering against a will forged through countless horrors. And the Princess Queen's expression shifted, awe now mingled with disbelief, for she had witnessed countless champions, and yet none had moved with such precision and inevitability. None had defied expectation so completely. And I pressed on, letting no pause show weakness, until the shadow dissolved into light, leaving the court in stunned silence. Finally, she stepped forward, voice firm but with a rare note of genuine recognition. "You have fought battles beyond my imagining, and yet you stand here unbroken, unbowed, and undefeated." And I bowed slightly, knowing that in this moment, humans had done what we always did, surprised, endured, and prevailed. The court erupted in cautious applause, the tension easing but the respect lingering. And the Princess Queen, once arrogant, now regarded me with an inscrutable gaze, saying softly, "Perhaps the tales of human resilience are not mere legend." And I replied, with a quiet certainty, "Legends are only born when truth exceeds imagination." As I left the hall, I could feel the lingering gaze of the celestial court upon me, a mixture of fear, admiration, and curiosity. For humans had once again proven that no matter how impossible the challenge, our endurance, adaptability, and sheer willpower would always make us formidable. And in that echoing chamber of power and magic, one truth remained clear. Humans, underestimated for ages, were forces of nature that even the mightiest of alien civilizations could not ignore. And somewhere behind me, the Princess Queen murmured to herself, "Perhaps I have underestimated them," a confession she would not speak aloud, but which carried a weight heavier than any battle. For in HFY fashion, humanity's true victories were never just in combat, but in the unshakable spirit that refused to bow, refused to break, and refused to surrender.